Hello, everybody. We are honored to present before you Dr. Wilson Tambu, distinguished for his clear and courageous thinking on religion and issues of national interest. He is a voice of reason in the public domain. He'll be sharing his thoughts through a series of interactions through our YouTube channel, Beyond Religion, on why we should move beyond religion so that we can nurture a culture of shared spirituality. He is very happy to be with us and to listen to our questions as well as our concerns and to speak with us on them as well. Dr. Tambu was formerly the principal of St. Stephen's College, New Delhi. So let's move forward together. All your questions are awaited with so much of love. Thank you.
Dear Wilson Tambu, I am a bit confused these days. Please note that all my education was in Christian institutions.
Yeah.
Okay, and I observe that throughout India there are excellent hospitals and schools run by Christians. So they are doing service to mankind. But however, I find that there are a lot of voices raised against them. I think it is not good because I am a man with gratitude. So what I am today is purely because of these type of Christian education establishments. And also when I see that their hospitals are being run very well, and also they could contribute so many great souls such as Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
And however, why this voices against them? I can't understand that.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very grateful for this question. It's very true that a lot of good work has happened in the past. It's also true that resentment against religions in general and the churches in particular is increasing day by day.
Okay.
Now, let's look at this in terms of what biblical faith is.
Okay.
Because that's our point of reference.
Right, yeah.
All these institutions developed because of the biblical faith
Agreed.
in order to incarnate the faith. Now, let me explain that a little more so that it becomes clear.
Okay.
You see, there are certain spiritual resources within us. For example, you want justice to prevail in a society.
Right.
You want equality, you want truth, you want justice, all these things. You want a healthy society to come into being.
Right.
So what do? You reach out to people. Now the point is, when you reach out to people, you need a medium and a strategy.
Agreed.
And the strategy that the Christian missionaries adopted from early times is that of, among other things, the main strategy is that of building institutions.
Okay.
Especially institutions of healthcare and institutions of education.
Agreed.
Now, the reason for this is that in a Christian institution, you have a beautiful, meaningful meeting point between the people of faith and the secular society, the society out there.
That sounds
Right?
all right, yeah.
Because these people, let's say it's a bad expression, non-Christians, they don't come into our churches.
Okay.
They cannot come into our churches. So the only area where there is a sustained meeting point between the Christian community and the non-Christian society
Right.
is the Christian institution. Right. Now, therefore, the missionaries were strategically correct in coming to the conclusion that in order to enable the society, members of the society, to experience the flavor of our faith,
Okay.
we need to establish these institutions.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So that people can know the nature of our faith in terms of our actual action. You can go on saying whatever you want, but as Jesus said, a tree will be known by its fruits.
Right. Okay.
So these early Christian institutions of healthcare and education were established with a missionary evangelical intention to enable people to experience the true nature of our faith.
Okay. All right.
Therefore, all these institutions were meant to make a difference in those societies. That is why, for example, at a time when the lower castes were not allowed into educational institutions, the missionaries opened our schools and very few colleges in those days, our schools for such people. And this was even more evident in our healthcare.
And also for women.
I was coming to that. The first all-women college in Asia was founded by Christian missionaries in Lucknow.
Really?
It's called Isabella Thorburn College. It was the first in
Isabella?
Asia. Thorburn, the name of the founder. Now, missionaries also reached out to people in far-flung areas, inaccessible areas, established these facilities for them so that people who are consigned to underdevelopment and social disabilities were enabled to look up.
Okay.
Now, this part of the work was beautiful, it was respected, the meaning of this work was very clear, and I'm sure a lot of people experienced the love of God through these institutions and the missionary work that happened through them. But over a period of time, the Christian culture, spiritual culture declined. And as a result, the missionary vision and the missionary intention changed. And instead of the goal of building up the people in order to lead them to fullness of life, as Jesus said, the goal became increasing our social and political influence through institutions, B, making more and more money, the profit motive.
Right.
And also the third intention was also to create a sense of obligation in the Christian community itself.
Right. Okay.
So that if your child has to study, you better be a faithful Christian, come to church every Sunday, so on and so forth. That was a sort of unstated thing. So when this underlying vision changed, naturally all kinds of aberrations began to come into existence.
Right.
As of now, for example, I studied in Bishop Moore College.
Okay.
I know it from official sources, it's not hearsay, that a sum of 20 lakhs is collected for appointing a teacher.
Yeah, okay. But all religions are collecting it, all institutions. Okay.
I'm just giving my,
okay.
my instance of my own matter. Now, once money becomes the point of interest, everything else disappears. So what happens is the educational standard sinks because people who are willing to pay you money need not be the best in the market. So you're actually catching mediocre people.
That's a valid argument. Right, okay.
Number two, those who have paid money for their jobs will never love the institution because they'll always harbor resentment.
Right, okay.
Because after all, this money was extorted from me. I'm not giving it voluntarily.
Okay.
It's not a happy thing for me. You have held me at gunpoint, extracted this huge sum of money. Therefore, such a teacher, such a faculty member will always harbor resentment within himself. He may not be able to show it all the time, but when the opportunity comes, he will, and I know it for a fact. The third thing is that such a person will never experience love for the students.
Okay.
Because for him, he has bought a job.
Yes, bought a job.
Bought a job. And that job is bought because it's the most convenient job, the easiest job to do. After all, you teach only 16 hours a week. If you're a doctor, you will work for 50 hours a week. right? I mean, I was the principal of a college. I worked for 40 hours a week. But my teachers were working 14 to 16 hours a week.
That's all.
That's all. It's a very comfortable job. Very comfortable job. So they fail to develop love for the students. As a result, the quality of education suffers, the quality of student-teacher relationship suffers, and the entire society suffers in the process.
Okay.
So, missionary initiative in the field of education, for example, which was meant to build character, correct social evils, effect personal transformation, social amelioration, social transformation, all these things disappeared. So and exactly the opposite began to happen.
That vision has gone.
Completely gone. Now, I believe that this can be corrected.
Right.
And for that, what people have to do, and this is why I accepted the principalship of a college, because what I'm going to say now is something I've tested and proved.
Right.
There is this myth, this dogma, that you cannot run an institution today without corruption.
Really?
There is this assumption. Because many principals have told me this, that it's impossible to do this.
So truth is bitter.
So I took up a college.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
I ran it for 9 years. I made 37 appointments. I would have I presided over 9 batches of admissions, and so some 3,500 students I admitted. Right?
Okay.
Without collecting 1 rupee. And the college flourished under me.
Right.
I left behind 11.5 crores as endowment fund for the college. I took it from zero, right? All I did was I plugged loopholes of corruption completely. I brought in a very, very simple lifestyle. I managed things through personal struggle, cutting down expenses. It means, of course, stretching yourself to the breaking point, but these things are possible. I proved beyond any doubt that corruption is completely unnecessary, and also that an institution improves when integrity is affirmed. It was during my tenure as
principal. Would you please repeat it? Integrity?
The standard of education improves because of institutional integrity.
Okay.
It was during my principalship that St. Stephen's College was recognized as the #1 college among 40,000 colleges in India.
40,000 colleges?
Yes, right. And the magic was integrity, right? So
maybe the church was supporting you?
No, the church turned against me. Because of this very problem, the bishop demanded 20% of the seats for himself, because he said, I want to generate funds. All schools in India gave me 20% of the seats. You are an institution under my chairmanship. I need 20% of the seats. I refused. So a war started, and everything imaginable under the sun was done to remove me from office. Conspiracies after conspiracies. I've written a whole book on it.
Okay.
So these things. So the point is this.
What's the name of the book?
The book is On a Stormy Course.
Right. Okay.
And I believe that there is only one book of this kind.
It's available in Amazon, no?
It's available readily on Amazon. It's not very expensive. You can get the paperback edition for 320 rupees or so.
Okay.
I would request our viewers to read it so that they. Anyway, our point was that we have slightly digressed. That obviously I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
That not only you, I have also developed. I have also benefited from Christian education.
Right.
I studied in a Christian college, and I'm very grateful to my principal, Reverend K.C. Matthew. He took care of me. He loved me like a father, and I enjoyed the love of my teachers. All that's fine. But over a period of time, corruption has set in, there is a decline, and the standard of education has gone down, and that is tragic. And I believe...
Sorry to bother you, how can you say it is corruption? It's the policy of the institution.
No,
because they say, that is what I hear, they say to run an institution they need money. Money does matter. So they have to generate money.
That's precisely the point I'm making. You don't have to practice corruption to generate money.
But why you call it corruption? They are just collecting some funds from... I'm sorry.
No. See,
then how can they generate
in law,
funds? Yeah.
in law,
Yeah.
accepting
Ah.
a reward,
Hmm.
any reward, even
Okay.
a cup of tea,
Mm-hmm.
for doing something
Hmm.
which is bound by
Hmm.
requirements of transparency is corruption.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Now, there is no law in this country that allows you to collect 20 lakhs or even 2 lakhs for selecting somebody for a job.
Okay, that definition is good because it is not transparent.
It has to be. Now, even if you say, even suppose you issue a receipt for the money, no receipt is ever issued for such collections.
Right, agreed.
Even if you issue a receipt,
Hmm.
if you issue a receipt, you'll get into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You really, because
I
the law
understand,
will
yeah.
get after you.
Right, yeah,
Because
okay.
something unthinkable.
Right.
So, even if you issue a secret receipt to that person, it's still corruption.
Mm-hmm.
And this money cannot be accounted for. Therefore, this money always goes into private pockets.
So how can they flourish? And education establishment, they have to get some funds. Do you think they will be given by the government?
Well, I'll tell you what I did.
Yeah.
St. Stephen's is a grant and aid institution. We used to get grant. But there was a shortfall of 70 lakhs.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Now, we have, say, hostels on campus.
Right.
And I used to generate profit from that. There was a very small institute that was teaching foreign languages on the campus.
Okay.
At a time, about some 200 students used to be admitted.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to have an income of about 7 or 8 lakhs.
Right.
I developed that into a major activity, and I was getting an annual profit of about 1.5 crores from that one language institute.
I see.
That's perfectly lawful, right? So I was not only able to meet this deficit of 70 lakhs, I was also able to leave behind a substantial amount so that my successors will never experience any paucity of funds. Yes. So all this idea that we have to be corrupt in order to survive is completely
In
not.
the meantime, there comes a valid question
Yes.
that in your case, you told me that St. Stephen's was a product of church or it was visualized.
Missionary. It was a missionary.
Missionary, okay.
Yeah.
And you were the principal there. If they wanted to throw you out, I'm using a wrong word,
Yes. No, it's a correct
they could
word.
do that.
No, they can't.
It is
do
their magnanimity, they didn't do that.
No, they can't do it. They tried
Why
their
not?
level best.
Why
And
not?
this question is important. I want to say this to all principals in this country.
Uh-huh.
Once you are appointed,
Mhm.
no force can touch you, unless and until your hands are dirty.
But that was a private establishment, no?
It may be a private institution, but according to the law of the land, all principals are governed by the same service rules. And the rule prescribes that a principal is permanent from the day of appointment.
Okay.
Secondly, the law of the land also prescribes that nobody can be terminated without following due procedure. Now, due procedure means producing a charge sheet. How will you create a charge sheet against a person whose hands are impeccably clean?
Got it, okay.
If you are clean, if you are leading an honest life, if there is no chink in your armor, there is no force in the world that can touch you. And principals should know this. But what happens is, most principals, because they want to have an easy passage, they compromise. And once you begin to compromise,
Excuse me, what do you mean by easy passage?
that is, you will not get into any trouble.
Oh.
These authorities will support you. You will become the darling of such people. So they opt for a compromise. And they compromise their integrity in the process. They become weak and weaker and weaker. They can't stand on their feet. Ultimately, they also fall into this deep pit of corruption. They would say, well, if these people are making money, why not I? So then their position becomes indefensible and they live in fear. That's what happens.
This may be of interest to our viewers.
Yeah.
So, in Kerala, I don't know anything about what happens in other states. Most of the churches and most of the religions are collecting this type of donation without any receipt. How it is accountable then?
It cannot be accounted for.
Especially if it's a big amount. Yeah.
But Kerala is a very peculiar case. Here,
What?
the state government is actually inducing corruption in institutions.
Really?
Yes, because the institutions are not given grant in need.
Inducing means generating.
No, they're
Allowing.
forcing. They're
Forcing.
forcing.
Oh, I see.
Forcing. Now, for example, as I understand, only 60% of the approved expenditure is reimbursed by the state government.
Okay.
And in order to generate the remaining 40%, this management quota is given,
Right.
which is what enables managements to sell seats in various institutions,
Okay.
presumably in a legitimate manner because the government has allowed it. My point is that even if somebody allows you, even if it is legally all right,
Binding.
it's morally not permissible.
Okay. Correct.
You cannot sell
Agreed.
seats.
Yeah.
You cannot sell. What is legally doable is not morally doable, right?
In short, what you are saying is that most of the institutions are compromising on integrity and quality. That is what you think.
If integrity is compromised, quality will also be undermined.
Agreed.
There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, an institution runs not on money, but on character and soul force. There's a spiritual power.
Okay.
And I've experienced it in a very powerful manner during my time as principal. It is not money that matters. Now, for example, if the general public knows that this institution is impeccably clean, they also become very generous.
Okay.
I mean, I reached a point where people were quite happy to support, help college in whichever way.
Okay.
For example, the college did not have a power backup system.
Okay.
We did not have the money to buy it. An old student
You are talking about a generator.
An old student came to know of it, and he rang me up and said, "Sir, how much money do you need? I'll give it to you." I said, "I don't want any money. You get a power backup system of 140 kVA installed on the campus. You do it yourself." He did that. I made it a point not to collect money. I would only allow people to come and make donations in kind. Maybe 500 bags of cement. Maybe say 3 trucks of bricks, things like that. And it used to pour in. I mean, I wanted the campus roads to be paved. It could be done without costing 1 rupee to the college. I did renovation work worth 6 crores without spending 1 rupee from the college kitty.
I see.
All because of the absolute faith that people have that a rupee given to St. Stephen's College will not go here and there. So I want to tell everyone that your integrity is your greatest asset. And once that is there, everything else is taken care of.
May I clarify that all these contributions were by the members of alumni?
Yes, about 90% of them would be by the alumni.
I heard that Shashi Tharoor studied there, Arun Jaitley.
No, Arun Jaitley studied in a college called Sriram College of Commerce. Shashi Tharoor did undergraduate studies in history.
That is in St. Stephen's.
In St. Stephen's, yes.
Any other famous people, celebrities?
Well, Rahul Gandhi spent 1 year there.
Okay.
Sachin Pilot, Jyotiraditya Scindia,
Okay.
Salman Khurshid,
Really?
Kapil Sibal, then the former Chief Justice of India Ranjan Gogoi.
Okay.
There are 4 justices of the Supreme Court today, right now, who are Stephanians. I mean, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad, the President of India. Ziaul Haq, the President of Pakistan. And so on and so forth. I mean, it's an endless...
May I ask you, when this college was founded?
1881.
1881.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to receive Ziaul Haq into the chapel of the college. I was a chaplain at that time.
At that time he was the Prime Minister?
He was the President of
Pakistan.
In 1983, I still remember that day.
He came there?
He is an old student of the college. So he came, spent a whole day in college. Yeah.
So in short, what you assert is that without corruption, an establishment can grow without collecting any donation.
My conviction is that a Christian institution can fulfill its destiny only if it is 100% honest and clean. That's my absolute conviction. And if an institution is impeccable, it has tremendous power. It will command respect far and near. I cannot go into details because people will think that I'm blowing my own trumpet.
Okay.
But it was an amazing experience.
No, fact is fact. You can say that. Yeah.
Ambassadors of other countries used
Right.
to come and tell me
Mm-hmm.
that this is talked about in embassies.
Hmm.
That St. Stephen's College is unimpeachable in its integrity. Unimpeachable in its integrity. And because of that, what happens? All these embassies would queue up to send their important people to college. For example, the Prime Minister of Poland
Okay.
visited Delhi. He was an economist. He wanted to give one talk in Delhi.
Okay.
St. Stephen's was chosen.
Mm-hmm.
The foreign minister.
All students will assemble.
Yes. The foreign minister of Australia
Uh-huh.
came to Delhi, and he began his Delhi visit from St. Stephen's College.
I see.
The Prime Minister of the state of Victoria came.
Okay.
He also started
Hmm.
the program from St. Stephen's.
Victoria
So,
is in Canada and also in Australia.
Australia.
Oh, right. Okay.
because at that time Indians were attacked in Victoria.
Right. Okay.
So she came as a goodwill trip.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've had the opportunity to receive a large number of such people, and all these things happen because the college has an image.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest asset of an institution is not money; it is its image. And that image must have two things. One is intellectual vibrancy.
Okay.
The other is moral integrity.
What do you mean by intellectual vibrancy?
Intellectual vibrancy of an institution, higher education is that it must be a place where the culture of the institution prioritizes the acquisition of knowledge and wisdom. Not just knowledge alone.
But wisdom is a relative term.
A relative term, but people know what it is because knowledge without wisdom can make people misuse it.
Could you please repeat it? Knowledge.
Without wisdom can make people misuse their
Okay.
knowledge for personal gains to the detriment of the society.
So you mean to say wisdom is basically discerning ability?
Wisdom is also a sense of responsibility.
Oh.
My idea of wisdom is that it is a sense of the larger picture. For
Right.
example, you are in a situation, you have
Right.
to make a choice.
Okay.
There are two ways of making the choice. One is making the choice with the reference only to what is good for yourself. The other is making a choice in that context, keeping in mind also what is in the best interest of others, of the society. That is wisdom.
Right.
And it is when you are wise that you are insulated against corruption. Knowledge by itself may push you into corruption.
May I ask you, in the West, because you travel extensively, in the West universities, how they are funded?
Well, there are all kinds of universities in the West. Some are state funded.
Okay.
Some have large endowments. And these endowments are enough to take care of all their needs for years.
I see.
For decades, for centuries.
Because they are rich.
And
But these values are being kept around.
Yeah, absolutely. And many of these universities have very, very generous alumni networks.
Oh.
And they pump in a lot of money. I met the dean of the Harvard Business School some time ago. She came to visit me at St. Stephen's College. And she was telling me that the annual giving of the alumni of Harvard Business School to the institution is to the tune of $2 billion. $2 billion.
Billion means 9 zeros, sir.
Yes, she said $2 billion. There's no question of any paucity of funds. Well, in Delhi, there is a college called Sri Ram College of Commerce.
Okay.
Now, I remember sharing a platform, a podium with Arun Jaitley.
Okay.
We were addressing a meeting. And he turned around and asked me.
At that time you was the minister?
He was minister,
Right.
yes.
Okay.
He asked me, how much are your alumni contributing to the college? So before I could say anything, he said, last year I alone gave 9 crores to my alma mater, that is Sri Ram College of Commerce. And the principal of Sri Ram College of Commerce was a friend of mine.
Okay.
Very deeply respectful, very affectionate. And I met him thereafter.
Okay.
He told me, he said, I don't know what to do with the money I'm getting. And he acknowledged that Jaitley was very generous, and
May I ask you, that is from the government or from personal funds?
personal pocket.
But that's a huge amount.
Yeah, huge amount. I mean, people are making a lot of money. These is lawyers like, say, Kapil Sibal or that Singhvi.
Okay.
Abhishek Manu Singhvi is also a Stephanian.
Right, I see.
See, their annual income must be to the tune of 100 crores, 200 crores. For them, making a donation of 9 crores is nothing. It doesn't hurt them. It's peanuts, right? So, but not every institution. St. Stephen's is certainly not in that category. My alumni are not very generous.
Okay.
I mean, I have to say, Shashi Tharoor hasn't contributed 1 rupee to St. Stephen's College. So that reality also exists. But by and large, I have found that the moment they are convinced that you are upright, the institution is clean, there is a touch of generosity in people's response to the institution. And that is true even from those who are not members.
Right, okay. Okay, Doctor, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us.